The Deep Space Monitoring Station in Antarctica was usually quiet at 3 a.m. Tom Miller was on his regular night shift, sipping coffee and watching the endless streams of data flow across his screens. 20 years of watching these monitors had taught him to recognize every normal pattern, every regular cosmic noise. But tonight was different. The first anomaly appeared as a slight irregularity in the background radiation patterns. Tom straightened in his chair, his coffee forgotten. The signal grew stronger, displaying a clear mathematical sequence that repeated with perfect precision. "This can't be right," he muttered, running diagnostic checks on his equipment. But everything was working perfectly. The signal was real. His hands trembled as he reached for the emergency protocol manual. In 20 years, he had never once needed to open it. The red binder's spine cracked as he flipped it open, dust falling from its pages. Within an hour, the station's main control room was filled with bleary-eyed scientists and technicians. The signal had grown stronger, and now multiple stations worldwide were picking it up. Dr. Robert Wilson, the station's lead scientist, stood before the main screen, his face illuminated by the pulsing patterns. "It's not random," he announced to the room. "These are prime numbers, followed by the mathematical constant pi to 1,000 digits, then the first 100 Fibonacci numbers." He turned to face his colleagues. "This is a message, and whoever sent it wanted to prove they were intelligent." The next 12 hours became a blur of activity. Space agencies worldwide focused their most powerful receivers toward the signal source. Supercomputers worked to decode the complex patterns hidden within the mathematical sequences. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A young data analyst named Mike Green noticed that the spaces between the numbers formed their own pattern. When mapped in 3 dimensions, they created a clear visual message. The holographic display in the main control room showed what appeared to be a massive fleet of ships, their designs unlike anything humans had ever conceived. The message that followed was simple but clear: help. Stranded. Cannot stop. Further analysis revealed the full scope of the crisis. A fleet of over 300 alien vessels, carrying nearly 1 million beings, was hurtling toward the solar system. Their primary propulsion system, based on advanced antimatter technology, had failed catastrophically. Without the ability to decelerate, they would shoot through the solar system in less than 2 months, doomed to drift endlessly through space. The United Nations called an emergency session. For the first time in human history, representatives from every nation sat together with a single purpose: finding a way to save an alien civilization. Dr. Wilson presented the technical challenges to the assembly. Their fleet is traveling at nearly 15% of light speed. At that velocity, they'll pass through our entire solar system in less than 6 hours. We have exactly 57 days to figure out how to stop them. The room erupted in frustrated discussions. Earth's technology was primitive compared to the alien fleet's capabilities. How could they possibly help a civilization so far advanced beyond their own? But as the initial shock wore off, something remarkable happened. Scientists, engineers, and problem solvers from around the world began approaching the challenge from different angles. They might not have antimatter technology, but they understood the fundamental physics of space travel. They had experience with gravity assists, with orbital mechanics, with improvising solutions using limited resources. The alien messages continued, providing more details about their situation. Their civilization, despite its advanced technology, had never faced a crisis quite like this. Their computers could calculate the problem perfectly, but they needed something more. They needed human creativity. As the first day drew to a close, Tom Miller stood at his monitoring station, watching the alien signals continue to stream in. The mathematics was beautiful, he thought, but there was something else in those messages now. Something that all the computers and analysts hadn't quite captured. Fear, hope, trust. 1 million lives were hurtling through the dark void of space, placing their faith in a species they had never met. In humanity's hands lay not just the fate of these aliens, but perhaps humanity's first real step into a larger galactic community. Tom looked at the night sky through the station's window. Somewhere out there, an alien fleet was watching those same stars, waiting for Earth's response. And despite all the challenges ahead, he felt a surge of determination. Humanity might be young among the stars, but they were about to show the galaxy what they could do. The world's top minds gathered at NASA's Mission Control in Houston. Engineers, physicists, and spaceflight experts worked around the clock, their computers running countless simulations. The massive screens showed the alien fleet's trajectory, a red line cutting through the solar system like an arrow. General David Stone stood before the assembled team, his weathered face serious. "We have 53 days until the fleet enters our solar system. I need solutions, not excuses." In the back of the room, engineer Pete Brown studied the trajectory calculations. While others focused on advanced theoretical solutions, he kept thinking about the old space tugboats they used to move satellites. Simple, reliable machines that had served Earth's space programs for decades. "Sir," Pete raised his hand, interrupting a heated debate about theoretical physics. "What if we think smaller? Instead of trying to stop their whole fleet at once, what if we slow them down bit by bit?" The room fell silent. Pete walked to the main display and pulled up designs of Earth's space tugs. "We have 30 of these in orbit. They're not fancy, but they're sturdy. If we could modify them with stronger electromagnetic grapples." Dr. Wilson, who had first decoded the alien message, jumped in. "The alien's hull material is highly responsive to magnetic fields. We could use that. Their own ship's mass would amplify our tug's pulling power." The plan began taking shape. Earth would launch every available space tug, retrofitted with powerful electromagnetic systems. These would form a chain, each tug catching and slowing a portion of the alien fleet, working in sequence to gradually reduce their speed. But they needed a leader for this mission, someone with both the technical knowledge and the instinct for space operations that couldn't be taught in any classroom. Commander James Parker was found teaching advanced spacecraft maneuvering at the Space Academy. His record was unique. He had saved 3 separate space missions through unconventional solutions. When they called him to Houston, he was already packed. "This is impossible," he said, looking at the mission parameters. Everyone in the room held their breath. Then he smiled. "But impossible is what humans do best." The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Space agencies worldwide redirected every resource to the mission. Factory workers volunteered for extra shifts to modify the space tugs. Retired engineers came back to work, offering their expertise. The aliens sent detailed schematics of their ships, allowing the human teams to perfect their grappling approach. Their messages showed increasing hope as they watched Earth's preparations through their long-range sensors. Commander Parker worked with his crew, running simulations day and night. They would only get one chance. If they failed, the alien fleet would shoot past Earth, lost forever in the void of space. "The key," Parker explained to his team, "is timing. We'll have less than 6 hours once they enter the solar system. Every tug needs to execute its part perfectly." 2 weeks before the fleet's arrival, Earth launched its response. 30 modified space tugs, each carrying the hopes of 2 civilizations, moved into position beyond Mars' orbit. They formed a long chain through space, ready to catch the incoming fleet. Commander Parker led from the front, his tug stationed at the head of the chain. As they waited, he received an unexpected message from the alien fleet. Their sensors had detected something extraordinary: the electromagnetic signatures of thousands of small satellites and probes around Earth. "Your species has already spread its presence far into space," the alien message read. "We underestimated you. Perhaps we should have asked for help sooner." Parker smiled at this. Humans might not have antimatter drives or faster-than-light travel, but they had been exploring space in their own way for generations. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones. The final countdown began. Earth's populations gathered around screens and radios, waiting for news. In space, Parker's team ran their final checks. The modified tugs hummed with power, their electromagnetic grapples ready. All stations report ready, his communications officer announced. Parker looked at the star-filled space ahead, knowing that somewhere out there, 1,000,000 aliens were placing their lives in human hands. He keyed his comm system. All units, this is Commander Parker. Remember your training. Remember what's at stake. Humanity has never backed down from a challenge, and we're not starting today. Rescue fleet, stand by for contact. The greatest rescue mission in human history was about to begin. The alien fleet appeared first as a cluster of bright points against the black of space. Through the reinforced viewports of his command tug, Commander Parker watched them grow larger with each passing second. Their ships were beautiful, sleek crystalline structures that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Fleet approaching at calculated velocity, his navigation officer reported. First contact in 3 minutes. The human rescue fleet hung in space, their modified tugs powered up and waiting. Years of space operations hadn't prepared any of them for this moment. The alien vessels were massive, each one larger than Earth's biggest aircraft carriers. The lead alien ship transmitted a final message before entering grappling range. "We trust you." Parker took a deep breath. All units, commence Operation Lifeline. The first tug activated its electromagnetic grapple. The beam shot out, connecting with the lead alien vessel. The tug's structure groaned under the strain, but the modified systems held. One by one, each tug in the chain activated, creating a web of electromagnetic energy that began to slow the massive fleet. Through the command channel came the voice of the alien leader, translated by their advanced systems. "I am Admiral Blue of the Stellar Federation. Your species has achieved what we thought impossible." The aliens, it turned out, looked nothing like humans had imagined. Through the video feed, Admiral Blue appeared as a tall, graceful being composed of swirling iridescent patterns, like the surface of a soap bubble given form. Their technology allowed perfect translation, but cultural understanding would take more effort. "Our civilization has traveled the stars for 10,000 years. Blue explained during the first official communication. "Yet never have we encountered a species that would attempt such a rescue with such primitive technology." Parker smiled at the word primitive. Sometimes the oldest tools are the most reliable. As the rescue operation continued, human crews worked alongside alien engineering teams through remote interfaces. The aliens shared stories of their journey. They were explorers, searching the galaxy for new civilizations. Their antimatter drive failure had been a freak accident, something their advanced computers had calculated as virtually impossible. "Perhaps we relied too much on our technology," Blue admitted. "We forgot the value of creative thinking." The human crews were fascinated by the alien ship's internal systems. Despite their advanced technology, many principles were surprisingly familiar. "Physics is physics," Pete Brown explained to his team. "Whether you're using antimatter or good old-fashioned rockets, you still have to deal with Newton's laws." Not everything went smoothly. Several tugs reported strain warnings as they managed the enormous mass of the alien ships. The chain of human vessels stretched to its limits, but held together through careful coordination and constant adjustments. Then came a moment that would be remembered in human history. As the fleet's speed dropped to manageable levels, Admiral Blue requested permission to board Commander Parker's vessel. It would be the first physical meeting between humans and their new alien allies. The airlock cycled, and Blue's iridescent form flowed into the command deck. The alien leader was accompanied by swirling patterns of light that their translation system identified as emotional expressions: gratitude, respect, and what could only be described as joy. "Commander Parker," Blue's translated voice filled the cabin. "My people have learned much from yours in these few hours. We thought ourselves advanced because of our technology, but you have shown us that true advancement lies in the willingness to help others, to think creatively, and to attempt the impossible." Parker stood from his command chair and approached the alien leader. "Admiral, humanity has dreamed of meeting other civilizations for centuries. We're just glad our first contact could be helping neighbors in need." Blue's form shimmered with what the translator identified as amusement. "Neighbors, we come from 50,000 light-years away." "In a galaxy this big," Parker replied, "that practically makes us next door." The alien leader's colors shifted to a deep, respectful blue. "Perhaps that is why your species will thrive among the stars. You see the galaxy not as a vast, empty space, but as a neighborhood waiting to be explored." As the rescue operation continued, news of the successful first contact spread across Earth. Humanity had passed its first major test as a spacefaring species, not through warfare or advanced technology, but through cooperation, ingenuity, and the simple desire to help those in need. The galaxy, it seemed, had just become a much more interesting neighborhood. 3 days into the rescue operation, alarms blared across the human fleet. Engineer Pete Brown stared at his readings in horror. The alien ship's life support systems were failing faster than predicted. "Commander Parker," he called over the emergency channel, "the electromagnetic fields from our grapples are interfering with their power distribution. At this rate, they'll lose life support in less than 12 hours." The news spread quickly through both fleets. The aliens' advanced technology, which had kept them alive during their long journey, was proving to be their weakness. The same systems that made their ships so efficient were now working against them. Admiral Blue's image appeared on the main screen, their usual iridescent patterns now dim with concern. "Our backup systems are failing. The magnetic interference is cascading through our power grid." Parker gathered his top engineers in the command tug's briefing room. They had successfully slowed the alien fleet, but now faced an even bigger challenge. Traditional solutions wouldn't work. They had neither the time nor resources to repair thousands of alien systems they barely understood. "What about Earth's gravity?" suggested Lisa Cooper, one of the senior flight dynamics officers. The room fell silent as she pulled up orbital calculations. "We're close enough now. If we can adjust their trajectory just right, Earth's gravitational pull could help slow them down naturally." It was a dangerous plan. One small miscalculation could send the alien ships crashing into Earth or flying off into deep space. But with life support failing, they were running out of options. Parker presented the idea to Admiral Blue. The alien leader's form rippled with what their translators identified as intense calculation. "The mathematics are sound," Blue finally said, "but the precision required, even our advanced computers cannot guarantee success." "Then we won't rely on computers alone," Parker replied. "We'll use human pilots. Your computers can calculate the perfect trajectory, but our pilots can make split-second adjustments that no automated system would risk." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Human pilots were paired with alien navigation experts, learning to read their advanced sensors. The aliens, in turn, learned to trust human instinct and experience. Time was running out. The life support readings continued to drop across the alien fleet. Some ships reported temperatures falling as their heating systems failed. Others lost artificial gravity, their crews floating in the darkness as power failed section by section. Engineer Brown worked with alien technicians to reroute emergency power, buying precious minutes. "It's like trying to repair a quantum computer with stone tools," he muttered, but kept working. The coordinate calculations were finally ready. Each human tug would guide several alien ships, using precisely timed electromagnetic pulses to nudge them into the correct trajectory. Earth's gravity would do the rest, helping to brake the massive vessels. "All ships, this is Commander Parker. Begin final approach sequence." The operation was like an intricate dance in space. Human tugs maneuvered their alien charges with incredible precision. The aliens' advanced sensors provided data, while human pilots made constant adjustments based on feel and experience. Halfway through the maneuver, disaster struck. One of the alien ships began to spin, its stabilizers completely dead. The movement threatened to pull other ships out of alignment, potentially dooming the entire fleet. Without hesitation, 3 human tugs broke formation. Working together, they created a triangulated electromagnetic field, catching the spinning ship like a net. The strain on their systems was enormous. Warning lights flashed across every console. "Hold together," Parker ordered, watching the rescue attempt. The human tug's hulls creaked under the pressure, but they refused to give up. Slowly, agonizingly, the alien ship's spin stabilized. The entire fleet held its breath as the tugs gently guided it back into position. Admiral Blue's image appeared again, their patterns showing clear amazement. "Your pilots just performed a maneuver our simulation computers classified as impossible." "Impossible is just another word for hasn't been done yet," Parker replied with a smile. As the fleet approached Earth's orbital space, the gravity assist plan began to work. The massive alien ship slowly decelerated, guided by the combined efforts of human instinct and alien technology. They weren't safe yet. The most challenging part of the operation still lay ahead. But as Parker watched his crews work seamlessly with their alien counterparts, he knew they would succeed. Sometimes the universe's greatest problems required both advanced technology and simple human determination to solve. The race against time continued, but now they had hope. Earth grew larger in the view screens as the combined fleet approached their most critical moment. Commander Parker watched the massive blue sphere, knowing they had one chance to get this right. The gravity assist maneuver would either save the alien fleet or doom it. "Final approach positions confirmed," his navigation officer reported. "Beginning slingshot sequence in 5 minutes." The plan was audacious. They would use Earth's gravity to help slow the alien ships, but each vessel needed to hit a precise entry corridor. Too shallow, and they'd shoot past Earth back into space. Too steep, and they'd be pulled into the atmosphere. Admiral Blue's ship led the formation. "Our sensors detect atmospheric turbulence in the approach corridor." The alien leader reported, their colors showing concern. "The calculations may need adjustment." Parker checked the readings. Earth's upper atmosphere was experiencing unexpected solar wind activity, creating invisible turbulence that could disrupt their carefully planned trajectory. "All pilots, switch to manual control," Parker ordered. "Trust your instruments, but trust your instincts more." The first wave of alien ships began their approach. Human tugs guided them like shepherds directing an enormous flock, using their electromagnetic grapples to make tiny course corrections. The aliens' own systems provided constant sensor data, creating a perfect blend of human skill and advanced technology. Everything seemed to be working until the third wave of ships entered the corridor. A sudden burst of solar wind created a ripple effect through the formation. 3 massive alien vessels began to drift off course, pulling others with them. "Emergency correction," Parker shouted. "Teams Delta and Echo, reinforce those grapples." The human pilots responded instantly. 6 tugs broke from their assigned positions, their electromagnetic beams stretching to their limits as they tried to stabilize the drifting ships. Warning alarms blared as their systems approached overload. Engineer Brown's voice crackled over the comm. "The grapples can't take much more of this. We're pushing way past safety limits." In the chaos, one of the alien ships began a dangerous spin. Its trajectory was taking it dangerously close to Earth's atmosphere. If it hit the air at their current speed, it would break apart. Without waiting for orders, pilot Mary Roberts positioned her tug directly in the path of the spinning vessel. It was a move that went against every safety protocol, but she knew it was their only chance. "Mary, what are you doing?" Parker demanded. "Something crazy, sir," she replied, activating her grapple at maximum power. The electromagnetic beam caught the alien ship just as her tug began its own controlled spin, using the momentum to help stabilize the larger vessel. The maneuver worked, but now both ships were dropping too fast toward Earth. The alien vessel's outer hull began to glow as it scraped the upper atmosphere. Admiral Blue's voice came through clear and calm. "Pilot Roberts, our sensors indicate your tug's structure is failing. You must disengage." "Not yet," Mary answered through gritted teeth. She fired her emergency thrusters, using the last of her fuel to push both ships back into a safer trajectory. The next few minutes were tense as other human tugs moved in to help, working together to stabilize the situation. Slowly, painfully, the formation returned to its planned course. All ships report status, Parker ordered once the crisis had passed. The damage reports came in: 3 tugs with severe structural strain, dozens of overloaded systems, and empty fuel tanks across the fleet. But they had done it. Not a single ship was lost. Admiral Blue's form pulsed with what their translators identified as profound respect. In all our years of space travel, we have never witnessed such skill. Your pilots achieved what our most advanced automation could not. The rest of the fleet made their approach without incident, each ship carefully guided through the gravity assist maneuver. As the last vessel cleared the corridor, cheers erupted across the human fleet. Parker finally allowed himself to relax slightly. Well done, everyone. Especially you, Mary. That was either the bravest or craziest flying I've ever seen. Sometimes they're the same thing, sir, she replied with a tired laugh. As Earth's gravity finished its work, slowing the alien fleet to a manageable speed, Parker reflected on what they had accomplished. Humanity had proven itself not just through technology or calculations, but through that unique combination of skill, courage, and just the right amount of calculated recklessness that defined their species. The hardest part was over. Now they just had to figure out where to park a few hundred alien ships. The world watched in awe as the alien fleet took up positions in Earth orbit. Their crystalline ships caught the sunlight, creating spectacular light shows visible from the ground. Cities across the planet came to a standstill as people gathered to watch the greatest moment in human history unfold above them. Commander Parker coordinated with ground control as they assigned orbital slots to each vessel. It's like trying to park 300 buses in a crowded lot, he explained to Admiral Blue. Except the buses are the size of cities, and the lot is moving at 17,000 miles per hour. The aliens had never attempted to orbit a planet with so many artificial satellites. Earth's space lanes were crowded with thousands of communication satellites, space stations, and debris that their advanced sensors hadn't initially detected. Your species has been busy, Blue observed, their form shimmering with what the translators now recognized as amusement. We found signs of your radio signals, but did not expect such an extensive orbital presence. Ground preparations were already underway. The world's governments had agreed to turn several large remote areas into temporary alien habitation zones. Engineers worked around the clock to modify environmental systems that could support the aliens' unique biological needs. The first shuttle carrying alien visitors landed in the Australian outback. The site had been chosen for its isolation and climate stability. As the landing ramp lowered, humans got their first ground-level view of their cosmic visitors. Dr. Anna Lewis, head of the xenobiology team, led the welcoming committee. The aliens moved like flowing mercury, their iridescent bodies changing colors in response to Earth's atmosphere. "Welcome to Earth," she said, trying to hide her excitement. The alien delegates' patterns shifted to match the red desert sand. "Your world's gravity feels interesting," they commented through their translators. "And your atmosphere is quite dense, but it is good to feel solid ground again." Communication between the species improved rapidly. The aliens shared stories of their travels through the galaxy, while humans taught them about Earth's diverse cultures and history. Both species found they had much to learn from each other. 1 month into the alien stay, an unexpected problem arose. Some of their ship's crystalline hulls began to deteriorate in Earth orbit. The planet's magnetic field was having an unforeseen effect on their exotic materials. Engineer Brown studied the problem with a team of alien scientists. The same properties that make their ships so advanced also make them vulnerable to our planet's natural forces, he explained to Parker. "We need to move them to a higher orbit until repairs can be completed." The operation to relocate the damaged ships brought humans and aliens even closer together. Alien engineers were amazed by humans' ability to improvise solutions with limited resources, while human technicians learned new ways of thinking about space technology. Cultural exchange programs flourished. Alien artists created stunning light sculptures in the sky, while human musicians introduced them to Earth's various musical traditions. The aliens were particularly fascinated by human dreams, having no equivalent experience in their own species. Your minds create entire worlds while you sleep, one alien researcher noted with wonder. Perhaps this is why your species is so adaptable. You practice creating new realities every night. The temporary habitation zones evolved into thriving communities. Humans and aliens worked side by side, learning from each other's strengths and differences. Earth's scientists made decades of technological progress in weeks, while the aliens gained new perspectives on problem-solving and creativity. Admiral Blue met with world leaders at the United Nations. "Our misfortune has led to a fortunate discovery," they announced. "We had mapped this sector of space as uninhabited by advanced civilizations. We were wrong. Humanity's advancement cannot be measured by technology alone." Parker watched from the visitors' gallery as Blue's form created patterns of friendship and respect that needed no translation. Earth had changed forever. Humans were no longer alone in the universe, and their first contact had shown the galaxy the best of what humanity could offer. As the sun set over New York, Parker received a message from Mary Roberts, who was helping train alien pilots in human-style space maneuvering. "Sir," she wrote, "you won't believe what these guys can do once they stop letting their computers do all the work." He smiled, looking up at the evening sky, where alien ships now sailed alongside human satellites. The rescue mission had turned into something much more. The beginning of a partnership that would change both species forever. And this was just the beginning. 6 months after their dramatic arrival, the alien fleet prepared for departure. Their ships, now fully repaired and upgraded with hybrid human-alien technology, gleamed in Earth's orbit. The modifications made them more resilient than ever, combining alien advancement with human practicality. Commander Parker stood in the new International Space Coordination Center, watching the departure preparations on the massive display screen. The center itself was a testament to the partnership between the two species. Alien holographic technology merged seamlessly with human control systems. "It feels strange to be leaving," Admiral Blue said, their form displaying colors of both excitement and nostalgia. "We came here as desperate refugees. We leave as friends and allies." The aliens had transformed human space technology. Earth's ships now incorporated crystalline components that made them far more efficient. But the humans had given something equally valuable in return: new ways of thinking about space travel that didn't rely solely on computer guidance. "The final technology exchange protocols are complete," Engineer Brown reported, looking up from his tablet. "Though I still can't believe they traded their antimatter containment systems for our manual override procedures." "Your backup systems save our lives," Blue responded. "In our pursuit of perfect automation, we had forgotten the value of direct control. This exchange benefits us both." The departure would mark the beginning of a new era. Earth had been accepted into the Stellar Federation, with humans already being requested as problem-solving consultants throughout the galaxy. Their reputation for finding unconventional solutions to complex problems had spread far beyond their solar system. Mary Roberts, now head of the Joint Space Training Program, led the final review of the navigation protocols. The aliens had adopted many human piloting techniques, creating a new hybrid style that was being studied across the Federation. "Remember," she told her alien students during their last class, "sometimes the craziest solution is the right one. Just make sure you can pull it off before you try it." The farewell ceremony was broadcast worldwide. Millions watched as Admiral Blue signed the formal alliance treaty with Earth's representatives. The document was unique, written on traditional paper but signed with alien light patterns that danced across the page. Humanity proved itself not through raw power or advanced technology. Blue addressed the gathered crowd, but through courage, creativity, and an unwavering desire to help others. These qualities make you not just valuable allies, but essential teachers for all spacefaring races. Parker supervised the departure sequence from the space station. Each alien ship would leave in precise intervals, their new engines glowing with a combination of antimatter power and human-designed safety systems. "You know," he said to Blue during their final meeting, "when we first picked up your distress signal, we weren't sure we could help. Your technology was so far beyond ours." Blue's patterns shifted to show warm amusement. "And yet you tried anyway. That is what makes your species special. You've never let impossibility stop you from trying." The first ships began their departure, creating brilliant trails of light in the sky visible from Earth. Humans and aliens had worked together to design a new departure system that was both efficient and spectacular, a final gift to the people watching from below. As the fleet prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, they received a final message from Earth. It wasn't from any government or official organization, but from Tom Miller, the Deep Space Monitoring Station operator who had first detected their signal. "Safe travels, friends," his message read. "The stars won't seem so empty now, knowing you're out there." Admiral Blue's ship was the last to leave. As they prepared to depart, they transmitted one final message to all of Earth. "We came here believing we were superior because of our technology. We leave knowing that true advancement lies not in the machines we build, but in the spirit that drives us to help others. Humanity, you have taught us this lesson. We will not forget it." Parker watched the last ship disappear into the depths of space. Earth's first major contact with alien life had led not to conflict or conquest, but to friendship and mutual growth. The galaxy had changed, and humanity had helped change it. "Commander," his communications officer called, "we're receiving new signals. 3 other alien species are requesting Earth's assistance with various space engineering problems." Parker smiled. Humanity's reputation was spreading fast. "Well," he said, "we better not keep them waiting. After all, impossible is what we do best." The age of human innovation in the galaxy had begun.